It is said that every town has a dark secret. Hidden away in a remote, desolate forest on the outskirts of a small town lies a place shrouded in fear and dread, a place the locals whisper about in hushed tones. They call it the Devil's Gate. Some say it's a passageway to another realm, a cursed spot where reality thins and dark forces seep through. For generations, no one dared to go there. Those who did were never seen again or returned haunted hollow shells of their former selves. This story is about a group of friends who, out of youthful curiosity and bravado, decided to visit the Devil's Gate one fateful night. What they encountered changed them forever. It was a crisp autumn evening, the kind where the cold bites just enough to keep you on edge. Tom, Sarah, David, and Jenna stood at the edge of the forest, staring at a narrow, winding trail that seemed to disappear into darkness. "Are you guys sure about this?" Sarah asked nervously, clutching her flashlight. "It's just a story," Tom shrugged. "People made it up to scare kids. We'll be fine." David, the skeptic of the group, laughed. "Yeah, if there were really anything out here, the town would have been abandoned ages ago." Reluctantly, they made their way along the overgrown path. The woods were unnervingly silent, no rustling of leaves, no chirping of crickets, just an oppressive, unnatural stillness. As they ventured deeper, the trees seemed to loom closer, twisted and gnarled as if trying to reach out and grab them. After what felt like an eternity, they arrived at a small clearing. In the center stood a massive iron gate, old and covered in rust. Its bars twisted into grotesque shapes, forming faces of agony and torment. The gate seemed to throb with a malevolent energy, humming faintly as if alive. "This is it," Jenna whispered, a chill running down her spine. "The Devil's Gate." Tom stepped forward, his face set in determination. "We've come this far. Let's just take a look and leave." As soon as he touched the gate, a low, guttural growl emanated from behind it. The ground trembled, and the air around them thickened. The friends exchanged frightened glances, but Tom pushed forward, shoving the gate open with a loud creak. Beyond the gate lay a stone pathway leading to an ominous black pit. Strange symbols were carved into the stones, pulsing with an eerie crimson glow. An overwhelming sense of dread washed over them as they stood at the edge, peering into the darkness below. A sudden, blood-curdling scream echoed from the pit, reverberating through the forest. It was a scream of pure agony, a cry that seemed to claw at their very souls. Jenna staggered back, her eyes wide with terror. "Let's get out of here," she yelled, but it was too late. The ground split open with a deafening roar, and something immense began to rise from the pit. A monstrous figure, cloaked in shadows, its eyes glowing like molten fire. It towered above them, a grotesque fusion of man and beast with horns that curved menacingly toward the sky. "Welcome," it hissed, its voice a grating whisper that seemed to echo inside their heads. "You have come to the threshold, and now you cannot leave." The friends were paralyzed with fear, unable to move or even scream. The creature stretched out a clawed hand, and with a flick of its fingers, the gate slammed shut behind them, locking with a bone-chilling clang. Darkness enveloped the clearing. The only light came from the pit, casting eerie shadows that danced around the friends like specters. The air grew colder, each breath a struggle as it felt like the life was being sucked out of them. "Your souls are mine," the creature intoned, and a gust of icy wind surged from the pit, knocking them to the ground. Whispers filled the air, sinister voices murmuring in a language they couldn't comprehend. One by one, the friends felt an overpowering urge to look into the pit, as if something inside was calling to them. Sarah was the first to succumb. She staggered forward, her eyes glazed over. "No. Sarah, stop!" David shouted, but his voice seemed distant, muffled. Sarah stepped to the edge and peered into the abyss. Her body convulsed violently before she went limp, falling face-first into the darkness below. Panic erupted among the group. Tom and David grabbed Jenna, pulling her back as she too seemed drawn to the pit. But the creature merely laughed, a hideous sound that grated against their sanity. "There is no escape," it whispered. "You opened the gate. Now you are mine." With a final, terrible shriek, the shadows surged forward, enveloping them. The world spun, and everything went black. When the sun rose the next morning, a search party was sent out. They found the gate, hanging open as if waiting for its next victim. But of the 4 friends, only David was found, lying unconscious at the edge of the clearing. He awoke days later, but something was different. His once vibrant eyes were now empty, void of life. He didn't speak, didn't move, just stared blankly ahead, lips occasionally twitching into a smile as if he were listening to voices only he could hear. He was never the same again, and neither was the town. To this day, people say that if you go to the Devil's Gate at midnight and listen carefully, you can hear faint whispers from the pit, whispers of those who ventured too close and were claimed by the darkness. And if you're foolish enough to try and open the gate, well, you might just hear a voice welcoming you, too. The Devil's Gate stands as a warning to all who pass by. Sometimes, curiosity doesn't just kill, it damns. The friends who dared to challenge the gate are lost forever, their souls trapped beyond the threshold. So, if you ever find yourself wandering near the Devil's Gate, remember this story and turn back. Because once you cross that line, there's no coming back. The devil is always waiting, and his gate is always open.